This is the Rebel Scum podcast. Available in video on YouTube and audio wherever you listen to your podcasts. Every week, Brock and James talk the latest rumors, news, and theories from a galaxy far, far, far away. Support us on Patreon for exclusive offers and join the Star Wars discussion. Patreon.com/Rebel Scum Podcast. Here are your hosts, Brock and James.
You are always scum. Rebel Scum.
Rebel Scum Podcast. I'm Brock. This is James, and episode 200. We're here to talk about Star Wars. James, what's up?
Not much. Nothing much has happened in the world of Star Wars lately, so there's not much to talk about today. Unless you are a fan of The Mandalorian, which, from what I can gather on Twitter, people are not. So, yeah. So I mean, it sucks. Have you noticed that? Like, people all of a sudden hate Baby Yoda. I don't get it. I don't get it. But we're going to talk about this trailer that dropped on Monday Night Football. Did you watch the football game, Brock? Because you're a big football guy.
Oh,
absolutely. Two of your teams going head to head. So that was fun.
Absolutely. I was like, yeah, sports. Boom. Yeah, that trailer.
At least we don't have to buy tickets afterwards.
Like, that trailer. Amazing. And it's like, it's nice to see, like, right off the bat, the vibe that we got from the end of, I guess, Book of Boba Fett. It's like, yeah, we're going to Mandalore. I'm like, oh, nice. And like, you'll have to forgive me. I only watched it, and I felt like I had to watch it a bunch of times to get all the little hidden nuggets that are in there because there's so many fast things happening. I don't know. Did you pick out anything outside of like the main story that like stood out for you in the trailer?
I know a lot of people are trying to find things that are in there, and I don't think they gave us too much. I think it was just like a little bit stuff. Get the top. It was obviously really cool to see, Babu Frick in there. But these are things that we knew we were getting. Yeah. So I don't think they threw anything at us to shock us. I think that's going to come later in the season. But I do have the trailer here. We can try to play it. My internet on this laptop is. I don't get it. It's really bad. Like, I'm going to probably switch to my phone after we play this trailer because for some reason it works there. But if I plugged in my phone and tethered, it wouldn't work either. So we're going to try this right now. We're going to play a little bit of the trailer. This is a surprise to you. I just decided to do this earlier. Andrew Fantasia was supposed to do the odds with us today, but he kept crashing my computer. So let's just add this to the stream here.
Like stars
so right away. I mean, I've seen people complain, Brock, that it's positive there, that you have to watch Book of Boba Fett, this show now, season 3. Like, you have to watch Book of Boba Fett, and people are complaining about that. And my response is, shut up and watch Book of Boba Fett. Like, Book of Boba Fett, it directly connects to The Mandalorian. Like, Book of Boba Fett is a direct spin-off of The Mandalorian. So you kind of have to watch Mandalorian to understand Book of Boba Fett and vice versa. And it's all part of the same universe. Yeah.
And they did you the courtesy of, like, just watch the last 3 episodes. Like, it's not like you have to watch anything really in the first part, I guess. Do you? Wait. No, you really don't. Because, like, all the characters you see, you've already met through Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and that's the thing. So, I talked to Andrew about this on Unleashed a little while ago, but like, we complain for years that these things aren't connecting, and now they're connecting, and we're complaining that they're connecting.
Yeah.
And it's like it's good. And the other complaint I have, it's going to come up in a little bit. It's like people are complaining that battle droids are in it now. It's like so you're and Order 66. It's like you're complaining that Star Wars is in Star Wars. I don't get it. Like it's Star Wars, man. This is what we like. Like, look, I love Andor. I love that Andor wasn't connected to it. Like, you know, it didn't feel like it had all that stuff. And Acolyte's gonna be cool at that. But shut up, man. It's Star Wars. That's what we're here for. I'm here for your Ewok hat. You know, I'm here for the stuff that I know. All right, let's hit play. Tell me what to stop. I'm gonna stop it. Stop. I guess it's get the new ship.
How to fight.
Yeah, like seeing this ship, you're like, oh yeah, I forgot about this.
How can you hate that? Yeah.
Will never be lost.
Back to Navarro.
Navarro, yeah.
And
like that,
Carradine's
like,
funeral. What do you think?
His new getup looks awesome.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I'm glad we get the armor.
The armor who's going to be in Toronto for Toronto Comic Con in March, apparently.
Forgiven for my transgression.
Oh, really? Awesome.
Yeah. In Mandalore, yeah. Now this droid, are we like expecting that droid to be Amy? And then of course Palinado's back.
This is the way.
I think there's just about 5.
There's something
dangerous
happening.
So I gotta pause it here. So my first thought is obviously that's Coruscant, right?
Yeah.
People are speculating that it's Hosnian Prime. I'm still thinking it's Coruscant, but I did say with Andrew, I like Hosnian Prime because I think it's like lame in The Force Awakens. That being said, you can make that for me, like what the Clone Wars did for the prequels with you could do with Hosnian Prime for me, and like make it because I thought Coruscant got blown up in The Force Awakens. So I'm like, that's powerful, but I've never heard of or seen Hosnian Prime. So if this show can lead to Hosnian Prime and make me care about it, I'm all in on that. But I still think it's Coruscant.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll hit play.
Big enough for you.
Well, and that's also what we just mentioned there by the
convenience.
Yeah, but he mentions kind of like the First Order is coming. Right, like that's what he's kind of saying, that like, there's a big threat on its way that you can't stop. And so I'm wondering if that's when this show's going to pivot into a direction that is more Mandalore focused than Imperial focus, right? Because that's it. But we'll still get it because of the Grogu, you know, and cloning and all that. But Din's going to be like, okay, I've got to focus on this. This is more important, so we can maybe fight that threat that's coming up later on.
It'll be too late.
Is that Anakin?
Hang on, kid.
Oh yeah. There's the battle bird, you know, my boys. That's always exciting. Heavy's my favorite. This person, I saw people speculate this is Zeb. Clearly not Zeb.
I thought that was a Wookiee for a hot second when I saw it first.
It's something. I don't even. We probably might not even get a better glimpse of it than that. Imagine that thing kills the kills Din Djarin, and maybe Yoda is the Mandalorian. I do think people miss the point on the show that this show is about Grogu as much as it is about Din Djarin.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I don't know. I don't. Going back to what you were saying, that people are like, you have to watch the other thing. I'm like, based on what? You haven't seen an episode. Like, you could probably watch the first episode. It'll have the recap, and it'll tell you everything you need to know. Like,
absolutely.
Or if you're
people
like,
are complaining
wow, that sounds interesting. Go watch it. Like, seriously.
People are complaining that Grogu wasn't away from Din long enough. And I'm like, again, based on what? On your presumption?
Yeah.
On your own, like, head can't, like, no, these people have a story that they are telling in place. There's a reason why things are happening the way they're happening. Whether he got back in Book of Boba Fett or in the first episode of Mandalorian, you're going to complain that they've been gone too long. But the point, like, there's a purpose to what's going on, and we got to let it play out.
Yeah. And Book of Boba Fett was last year, right? Beginning of last year. Right? Or 2021?
Yeah.
So it's just like, why are we talking about this now? Like, you could have easily said this like a year ago. So it's like it seems
or
bizarre.
just
But like you sent me that really cool
or
Instagram thing about like how the good thing about Star Wars is that to fix like
yeah.
or not fix to like make Star Wars more understandable, the solution is more Star Wars. So it's like
Yeah, that was who's oh we gotta give credit to who said that
I
because that
forget
was a
that who
great
it was. It was really cool. I'm like, that does
I'll
make a
find
lot of
it. Yes, but it was because it was
sense.
such a it was like nothing genius being said, but it was the most. I
No.
mean, it probably won't go viral because it's so true. It's unofficial Star Wars on Instagram. Unofficial Star Wars. Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what you've been saying for years about the prequels. You've always thought the Clone Wars. I mean,
Yeah.
not that you thought like the Clone Wars flesh out things that
Yeah.
happen, and they're very good at knowing what they're doing and fixing it, and that's why I like the issues that I have, you have, whoever has with the sequels. I feel like they're gonna get resolved. That's why I mentioned Hosnian Prime. I don't think it is, but I'm still like, yo, give me some Hosnian Prime because I'm not against Hosnian Prime. I just when it blows up, I have no emotional connection to it because they don't even like I didn't even know it was a Hosnian
Yeah.
Prime when it
No,
got
you're
blown
right.
up, right? That's what I mean. It's like give me something to feel, and that's what these shows can do. And they already kind of did that. They started to with Snoke already in season 2. Obviously, something's up with Grogu. We see the cloning doctor driving around Coruscant or whatever. In this one,
Yeah.
we hear about the threat. Like that's what Star Wars is good at. It's
Yeah.
backtracking. People call it retconning,
Yeah.
but it's backtracking. It's like I
You're
mean,
right though.
freaking
Like
the originals did that.
Coruscant, we don't see a ton of in the original. Well, in the prequels, yeah, we do. But like, it was a big deal, like until it got explained to us, and like a lot of regular viewers probably won't be like whatever. But like blowing up Coruscant would have been a lot more profound. But at the same note, it's like when you think about it, it's like blowing up Alderaan. We're like, whoa, that's crazy. But like, it isn't until like maybe you watch it a bunch of times and you understand what has happened to like Leia and
Well,
then
yeah, my
people in
thing
general. But then
is
like
Aldrin's.
But
There's a
like
delay.
Obi-Wan says, it's as if 1,000
Yeah,
voices screamed out in pain and were suddenly silenced, and you're really like, oh right, there are people on that planet. Like
and Leia
they
also
literally
mentions.
just did genocide.
But Leia also mentions they're a peaceful planet, right? With all that stuff, like she
Exactly.
mentions that as well. Whereas Hosnian Prime's just kind of like, "We're gonna blow it up," and then you see a laser
Kaboom.
beam, and somebody goes,
Yeah.
"Oh look, a red," and it's like, but I don't even know. I guess there's a deleted scene of that character coming out on the balcony, but I
Mm.
just like when it was. I didn't want them to blow up Coruscant. I'm not saying that, but I know what Coruscant is, so it has more impact to what's going on.
Yeah.
And the other difference too is that New Hope. That's your #1 movie. This is number 7. This was number 7. Like you've got planets you could have gone back in the well
It's
and
it's kind of true about
destroyed.
Star Wars. Like they do loss very subtly. Like in when you watch
Mhm.
Last Jedi, you're like, who is this bomber? But it's like it turns out that's Paige, and her sister is Rose, who's a character you will follow. So it's just like, it's just sort of like, here it is. And you're like, well, that person died. That sucked. But then you're like, oh, they're not just a
Yeah.
person. They're not just a random background character. They're a family member. So it's like, Star Wars doesn't like it shows loss, obviously, but it's like very subtle, right?
And you just said something that has always stuck out with me, and that's you're like, oh, it's a family member because George Lucas always said it's about family, and I feel like what a lot of the fans want is they don't want that, but I think, and the thing is, we can go back to Ray Skywalker, Ray Palpatine, Ray Nobody. And I know
Hmm.
people wanted Ray Nobody, they want to Ray this for that. I think Ray Nobody works if you are walking away from the Skywalker saga, but when you're in the Skywalker saga, I'm not going to say my problem with it or my issue with it, but for lack of a better word, because it's early in the morning for me. The problem with it is if Star Wars isn't about family, then what's it about, right? So if you're in the Skywalker saga, they have to kind of connect in that way for it to matter to that story. Again, if you're going away from it and you want Rey to be the focal point of the next saga, then she could be Rey Nobody. But because of in this movie, what is the point of Rey Nobody in the Skywalker saga? Like
Hmm.
do you know what I mean? Like, don't call it Skywalker saga. And it's about Anakin, it's about Luke, then it's got to be about the next one, which could be Ben
You
Solo,
know,
whatever.
It does make me think about like the Ray Nobody. I'm like, oh, it's just the story of Aladdin. I only think of that because I got home and
Yeah.
Rihanna was watching the live action Aladdin. It's like, yeah, he's just a guy that happens to find a wizard. So
Diamond in the rough.
yeah,
Yeah, no, it's true. But that, yeah, like I have no problem with Ray Nobody, but when you're making it in this universe, in this saga, then and I'm not saying I really love how they ended up playing it out or anything, but I think it needed to connect in a way. She needed to connect because that's what it's about. It's about that isolated group of characters, right? Like Empire Strikes Back isn't about the other rebellions. It's about Han, Leia,
yeah,
Chewie on the Falcon. They meet up with like that's who it's about. It's about this. And when you start to branch out with everybody, and that's what the books and the comics can do all they want because it's different.
yeah,
But when you're telling a movie, it's got to be there has to be the focal point. There has to be the heart of it, and there has to be the emotional connection. And that's why I mean, when you like family, George Lucas always said that, and that's what is so important about it. And
yeah,
people complain the galaxy feels small, and it should feel small. The galaxy doesn't have to feel big when it comes to the characters that we're following. Like, when you watch a movie, you're watching specific characters, and it's always like kind of, it's like, oh, of course that happened to this character, but that's because that's who you're following, and that's Star Wars is following these characters. So the next one, whatever's up next, they can follow whatever they want. But when you're in this time period, it's got to kind of all connect, and you got to have emotional stakes, and family is the best way to do
yeah. The galaxy's like Olive Garden because when you're here, you're family.
that. Do you still dream of going to Olive Garden?
No, I've moved on to bigger and better things. Plus, like
Boston
my
pizza?
wife is vegan. Yeah, Boston. Although, like, did I tell you this? It was like we went to Boston Pizza, and I hadn't been there in years the other night, and I was like, "Wow, look at all the stupid things on this menu. I want to eat all of them."
What did you end up getting?
Fries. So, yeah, no, well, like it's my wife is vegan, so it's like certain places are like it's like
Yeah, what's the
one thing though we haven't really talked about. There's people with lightsabers in this trailer.
Yeah.
Are like we kind of have to assume it's a flashback because this era is there's only Luke and that's it. But would it be amazing if it was a current day, a current moment,
Oh,
like
God.
like what? Because Luke is starting his academy. We see it in Book of Boba Fett.
I think it's still too early for that. I think this is Order 66.
I think
It's
you're right, too.
continuing. I think continuing the Order 66 that we got in Book of Boba Fett,
Mhm.
which I'm all in on. I don't know what people are complaining. I'm all in on that. Give me all of it. I mean, that is such a crucial event in Star
Mhm.
Wars, and it's also a crucial event in Grogu's life. And this show, I think there's like that misspelling, the misinterpretation of the show being the Mandalorian and Din Djarin's the Mandalorian, but it's him and Grogu, like they're the
Yeah,
two leads, and that's a big part of his story. So, however, we're gonna get that flashback, I don't know, but
Yeah.
I'm excited to see it because who rescued him? Why did they rescue? I think the bigger question is, and my problem with the sequel trilogy, a lot of it was why? Why did they rescue Grogu? That's what I want to know. Like, I don't want it to just be like a random, like, oh, there's a kid here. Like, why was Grogu rescued? Was he always special? Is he Yoda's child for real? Like, there's so many. I don't even know if I'm suggesting
Yeah.
at this point. Like, there's got to be something special about Grogu, and it's been since day one, right?
Yeah.
Now, Brock, the one thing though, sorry, I've got to sidetrack for a second because I just said that in episode one, which I haven't watched in a while, like the very, very first episode, Din is given the bounty. And he's like, he's dead or alive, right?
Mhm.
But then as the season goes on, it's mostly they want him alive. So what is that like a writing gap, or did something change along the
Oh,
way with
interesting.
Baby Yoda?
Hmm.
Right, because if you think, because the first episode is like IG whatever, like, well, we got to kill the baby. If he's like no, and then later like the client is always like, I want to see the baby, but what if the baby was dead? I don't.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Like, yeah, no, I didn't even think about that. Like, I think the flashback to Order 66, I think it'd be really, really cool if they shot it almost identical, but from a different angle as the one that's in Obi-Wan, where you see like
Mhm.
working something like that into there.
Actually,
Like,
This one kind of reminded me more of the Obi-Wan flashback than the Grogu flashback. Yeah,
and that's kind of funny because I was like, oh, that was in Boba Fett. I'm like, no, that's in Obi-Wan. It's like, who cares? It's all the same event. It's like, yeah, like
exactly. And you know what they should like? Yeah, like that is something that you should watch that they could do in 20 different shows, and you should never remember what show that it happened on because it should be one big event.
Right.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So that'd be sweet. But man, now I'm feeling like I should rewatch Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett. Like,
and Obi-Wan.
I'm currently watching total side Akbar. I'm currently watching the first season of Yellow Jackets, and that show's awesome. If you liked Lost, you'll love this show. Anyway,
I think I got to the second episode of Yellow Jackets. I started watching The Last of Us.
Yes, that was good too.
Only one.
Both those shows have Star Wars connections too, because like the girl that plays young Natalie is Droog or something, or Darsh. I'm not sure. In Book of Boba Fett, she's one of like the Neutrinos biking gang, the main girl.
Yes, yeah.
Darsh,
the main one.
Yeah, whatever. And then of course, like Pedro Pascal as in Last of Us, like. That shows. I didn't play that game, and I'm like, ooh.
So I never played the game. I have the game. I got it for like $9. I thought Aaron would really like it, so I'm like, Aaron, play this game. And she played the beginning, and she couldn't. She's gonna get back into it because she really liked the show. But it's funny because she didn't like the game because I think the game was watching a lot, like you're watching a movie basically. So she's like, she actually got bored. She's like, I don't want to play this anymore. So she stopped. But we're watching the show, and then it got to a point really early on, and she goes. Oh, and like she knew, like I wasn't there when she played it, and so she knew, but she stopped playing it right before. I guess I won't spoil the show, but there's a major event that takes place 20 years before the show kind of begins, right?
Right.
And she stopped playing it right before that event, so she didn't know that that's. So when it happened, she was, oh, okay, yeah, I stopped right here. And then the big thing happened, like literally, like I'm like, how did you stop in the middle of this? But yeah, it was a pretty good show. It was a long episode though. Jeez, I was like, cut this into 4 next time.
Great.
It looked great though.
Like
great
TV happening, it's fantastic. But then speaking of TV happening, I did not watch Bad Batch. I was like, I forgot.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet either. The problem for me with Bad Batch is I have the 4-month-old, and then Aaron doesn't watch those ones, so just find the time. And I'm working every day, so it's just finding the time to sit by myself and watch it. It's just not there. So I probably will find a day at some point and just sit down and binge either the whole season or whatever I've missed at that point. Even though I hate binging, I'm sure I can suck it up for Star Wars. I'm usually pretty good with binging Star Wars. Yellow Jackets. I'm surprised you can watch Yellow Jackets. It was pretty gruesome.
Oh no, I had no problem with that. TV violence is easy to get through, but I love that show is like great. I was like, ooh, that's nice. Like, so I'm probably gonna crush the rest of the season today.
They're doing season 2 too.
Yeah. I haven't watched the trailer. I'm like, oh, when I finish, I'm gonna watch the trailer.
I was Ivan, a friend Ivan said you should watch it, so I put on the first 2, but I couldn't do it. I was just done. It was a little too much for me. Yeah, I'm surprised you can watch it. It's more gruesome than like it was though.
Really?
I like watching happy people on TV. I don't need to watch.
Yeah.
I watch Happy Days. And what other shows have happy in the title? If it was called Happy,
there's that show that is just called Happy with an exclamation mark.
Is it really? I gotta find that show. Is it Happy or is it like?
No, it's based on a comic where this like retired cop is like in bad shape, and someone kidnaps his daughter, and he's got like a drinking problem, and he sees like a blue horse, a little blue flying horse named Happy that helps him solve the mystery.
Oh, that's with what's his face? Chris Maloney.
Yeah, and Patton Oswalt's the voice.
Yeah.
Patton
Quite
Oswalt is amazingly like he's got the voice acting in all the big things
Yeah.
now. Like he's MODOK, he's Pip in like the Eternals. Like that guy's busy constantly.
He was on Celebrity Jeopardy recently, and
Oh, really?
I haven't seen Jeopardy in
Yeah.
forever, like since I don't know, like the '80s probably. And Aaron just started watching it. I was making dinner, and Aaron was watching it, and it was Celebrity Jeopardy, and she never heard of anyone on like. I was like the questions were really easy because I was
Yeah,
getting
oh, yeah.
like I was in the kitchen, I'm getting. And she's like, "Oh wow, you're getting them." I'm like, "Aaron, it's Celebrity Jeopardy. These are like grade school questions." She goes, "What? There's no celebrities on."
That guy's on
So
this. Like,
I was like, "Well, he's literally in everything that you like." I'm sure he's been in something she's seen, but I couldn't think of it. I'm like, "Well, you've seen Ratatouille," and then I was realized I don't know if she has seen Ratatouille. So it was really funny. She I wonder if Patton Oswalt will make an appearance in Star Wars at some point. I feel like he's the one from like the Filoni Favreau verse that hasn't that should be. I still want Vince Vaughn to show up at some point,
yeah.
but oh my god, just imagine Vince Vaughn and Jon Favreau just coming like Imperials, but they're their swingers characters.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, the trailer was like solid. It was exciting to have. I can't, and it's like I know we were like a month ago being like, oh, when are we gonna get stuff? I'm like, I can't believe it's coming. It's like,
Yeah,
yay!
it's funny because earlier that day I'm like, look, I'm gonna watch this trailer, but
Hmm.
I don't need this trailer, and I'm
Yeah,
really not
exactly.
excited for the trailer because I'm watching the show. Like it's not like this is gonna be the make or break for me, and it's
Yeah.
not reminding me that it's coming. Like I'm already there. I
Mm.
want to see less. Like, dude, I don't know if they spoiled anything in this. I'm hoping this is all from the first episode, you know, because I'm sure it's not. But I'm just like I'm gonna watch it. You don't need to show me any more trailers. I don't need any. But then I said, of course, I'm
Mm.
gonna watch it. Probably watch it 1,000 times, and I did, and I love it. And I don't think they're spoiling anything. I think this show and Star Wars as a whole, with the exception of casting these roles, but they've been really good at hiding like the big things.
Mm.
Like of all the castings we got, I don't think we heard Cad Bane was coming in Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Like there's things that they still are able to hide, and Grogu is still the biggest, best kept secret
Yeah,
that
yeah,
they've
yeah,
ever
yeah.
had, right? Like that's up there with Luke, I am your father as a secret being kept.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Oh, you want to go to the
Yeah.
odds?
Yeah, let's do it. But one last thing about Star
Yeah, yeah.
Wars. I finally got my hands on some High Republic books and reading them in order. So I've got Quest of the Hidden City, which I think is a young reader's one. Star Wars: The Path of Deceit, which I think is like young adults, and then Convergence, which is like the main. And so far in which is Quest of the Hidden City, it's like they haven't even like it's we're Jedi and here's droids and we're on ships and like the hyperspace lanes aren't mapped, so they're like
Mhm.
literally just talking about let's map the things. But there hasn't been any mention of any pre-existing characters, not even mention of planets that you know. So it's like it is kind of weird that they're doing this. It's interesting. Like don't get me wrong, it feels like Star Wars, but it's just like you now have to relearn all or learn these new characters that you're like all these new names. Like I couldn't tell you one of the names yet. I'm only like 40 pages in, but like it is. I think it's good, and I will give a better review once I'm done all of what's out currently. But it's like why are you doing this? You set up a really cool universe, and now you're backtracking another 50 or 100 years. And I'm like, we cool. I don't know. Maybe it'll make sense at some point, but I'm like, that's a lot. It's like, hey, if you want to watch the new Ant-Man movie, you have to watch all 30 of the other movies and all the shows. No one's gonna want to jump on that. It just seems like an odd move, but maybe time will tell on it.
You know, you brought up Ant-Man, and I was talking to a couple people, and I said, you know, I am not excited for that movie at all. I said, but do you want to know the truth though? I guarantee you, when I do watch it, I will really
Yeah.
enjoy it. Like,
Yeah.
because that's how I was with both. Like, you were like, let's go see the first one, and I went with you, and I was like, I really like that. And then the second one
Yeah.
came out, I'm like, I don't really want to watch it. Then I watched it, I was like, I really like that. And I feel like the third one's gonna be the exact same, where I'm not gonna watch it, and then I'm gonna be like, damn it, that was really good. I might be wrong. I don't know, but the first, if it goes like the first two did, then I will.
Yeah.
All right, now we
Yeah,
tell
we'll
me the
see.
odds. Here
Let's do
we
it.
go. I mean, I'd rather a good movie than a bad movie.
Yeah.
Getting an asteroid field is approximately 3,720 to 1.
Never tell me the odds.
Never Tell Me the Odds, brought to you and me from patreon.com/Rebel Scum Podcast. If you like what we do, come and support us. We would greatly appreciate it. Just like we appreciate the following people: Heidi Feder, Barry Brophy, Dennis Allen, Randy Kenobi, Mary Kristen Aton, Jeff Wilson, Phil Stanforth, Rez, Scott D, Josh Price, Matt W,
Frank Perkins, Neil Lowry, Cosmic Girl 02, Bleak Play 1, Disney Desi, Charlotte, Kayla Davis, Dale Erdman, Girls with Sabres, and I'm
boom.
gonna say that one really fast because James Gunn hates him. All right. Andrew's Fantasia was supposed to be here for the odds, but my computer kept crashing, so he won't join us. It was only audio this week anyway, so I'll just say it in his voice. Oh, hi everyone, this is Andrew. That's how he sounds, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Will Grogu join Ezra at some point? Will Ezra and Grogu kind of go together and maybe start a Jedi order somewhere far, far away?
That would be super fun. I'm going to go full Brock on that because it's like I want it to happen, but I don't know if it will. So 50-50.
I'm going to go 41% just because I was going last week. I don't think so. I'm going to 41%. I think it's I think it would be cool, but I don't think it's going to happen just because seasons. Now, whether they're stretching that out or not, I don't know. But
Yeah.
it's 4 seasons. Like, does Grogu carry on to a different show? I mean, all these shows are kind of connecting now. So I don't know. We're going to see. We'll find out. But 41% for me. Our next thought. Here we go. Will the Rebels crew appear on Mandalorian season 3? As Hera
season
Sabine,
3, not Ahsoka.
Yes. Not in Ahsoka. And so Mandalorian season 3. I should have probably put all of that in the odds. I think they're going to appear in Ahsoka for sure.
I was gonna go 95% for Ahsoka, but I'm gonna say I like that idea. Let's do it. But like I'm gonna go 25%.
Like Dale's to the last out of it. That would piss Luke off. He got the cute kid to train in there. Luke got Ben Solo. That would, and then Luke goes evil. I'm gonna go 77% on this. I don't think full crew. I don't think Zeb's gonna show up, but I think we're gonna get Sabine for sure. Okay, so I guess I should rephrase that. I'm gonna go like 1% for the whole Rebels crew and 75% for Sabine, maybe like a Chopper.
Yeah,
and it'd be really cool. I know he was in Rise of Skywalker, but Freddie Prinze Jr. hearing his voice one more time, or him as a Force ghost coming as Kanan would be kind of
that'd be awesome.
But then the thing is though is like you use him as Kanan, but then you change Sabine and you change Ahsoka. It's like they kind of do flip flop though. There has been other ones that they flip flop, so I think Freddie Prinze Jr. would work as Kanan though. All right, and our final lot today: will Boba Fett and Fennec Shand appear and lead into a second season of their series? So they're going to show up in Mandalorian season 3.
Oh yeah,
that will branch off to season 2 of Boba.
You can't collect all these other Mandalorians and not have Boba Fett show up at some point. So I'm going to go 100%.
But will it lead to season 2 of their show?
I think so. I think it's only fair if you're going to take one of their episodes and give it to Mando that you give us one of your episodes. Do it. Why not? It was a great move. And it was like, whoa, I can't believe this. This is awesome. Like, do it.
So I love Book of Boba Fett, and I know I'm on the minority. But I think, you do it, and then you make Boba Fett badass and all the stuff that people want just to appease them and sell your toys.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm going to go 63.97% on that one. Let us know what does Luke know Ezra? I don't think so. I'm going to say no.
Yeah, I would say no.
I'm going to say no. Let us know. All right, let us know your odds in the comments below or in the live chat to the side. Brock, you got some news?
Let's do it.
Let's go with the Hall of News. Da, 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 the Hall of News. Da, 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 the Hall of da, 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 da.
Hello News, the news you need to know right now. The latest trailer for The Mandalorian has scored record viewership numbers for a preview of an upcoming Star Wars television series on Disney+. According to Hollywood Reporter, the second trailer for The Mandalorian Season 3 has managed to rack up 83.5 million views in the first 24 hours after its release. For frame of reference, the previous record holder with regard to Disney Plus shows in the Star Wars franchise, Obi-Wan Kenobi, managed to amass approximately 58 million views, which is still more impressive in its own right. This is a good sign for the third season of The Mandalorian, given the initial teaser for the third season seemingly performed below expectations. Likely not helped by bootleg copies of it leaked after the Star Wars celebration, and it's taken months to release officially at Disney D23. But clearly, the long wait between the second and third season hasn't led to a lot of appetite for more stories about the continued adventures of Mandalorian and his adopted infant Jedi. There's also been a large discount put on the Star Wars Star Cruiser Hotel. Disney has approached its first public discounted trip with the Star Cruiser not by dropping the price of the Star Cruiser itself, but by deeply discounting Disney resort stays around that experience. With this offer, guests can save up to $700 on a 2-night Disney hotel stay immediately before or after their 2-night voyage on the Galactic Star Cruiser. This offer is valid for more voyages between February 5th and September 30th, and it varies per resort as follows. Save $350 per night at Disney's Beach Club Resort, Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa, or Disney's Yacht Club Resort. Save $250 per night at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge, Disney's Boardwalk Inn, Disney's Contemporary Resorts, Disney's Polynesian Village Resort, or Disney Wilderness Lodge. And also save $150 per night at Disney's Coronado Springs Resort. So if you're looking to try this out, you can save a little money. It's still going to be the same price, but it's better than nothing. And you're not just going to go to Disney for 2 days. Come on. And in our final story, Steven Spielberg was talking about George Lucas during a interview recently it was on a podcast, Smart List, hosted by Jason Bateman, Will Arnett, and Sean Hayes. He started talking about his relationship with George Lucas, saying at the time of the first release of Star Wars, like when they showed like a rough copy of it, people were like, no, I don't like this. Spielberg and the head of the film studio were the sole supporters of the film, believing that it could be a blockbuster, which at that time was new, a term actually coined in reaction to the popularity of Spielberg's Jaws. And when it came time for Star Wars to premiere, Spielberg and Lucas were together in Hawaii. Lucas was afraid the film might flop, so he reasoned that he'd rather receive a bad news somewhere fantastic, like a beach in Hawaii, than at home. That location led to a unique tradition. Spielberg said, George inaugurated this thing about building lucky sandcastles. You build it close to the high tide, then if the sandcastle the next morning is no longer there, the ocean wiped it out, your film will be a flop. But if the castle's still there, the film will be a hit. According to Spielberg, the sandcastle survived the night, and shortly afterwards, Lucas received a phone call revealing that every 10:30 a.m. showing of Star Wars was sold out across the entire country. Magic castles, magic sandcastles, Maz Kanata's castle. I don't know, but it's kind of cool. And this has been your Hollow News.
Maz Kanata, there's someone they can really put into these shows to really make me care. Top 5.
Top 5. What's our top 5 today?
Top 5 moments from the trailer. What else could they be? Top 5 moments from the trailer. My number 5, Brock. Battle droids. You know how I feel. I'm a huge Battle Droid fan. Look at this. Battle Droid. Oh, you can't see it because of my thing. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Is it green?
There it is. There it is. You kind of... Oh,
yeah, kind of.
Yeah. There's Battle Droid right there. This is thanks to our friend Phil Staniforth for that. Battle Droids.
My number 5 is going to be them flying in their their Naboo Star Cruiser, whatever you call it. I can't remember what the model name is. Through a hyperspace lane, it just looks cool. I like how exposed they are to the outside.
That was actually on my list, and I took it off to replace it with battle droids. My number 4 is when the Mandalorians jump out of the ship with their jetpacks, because that's always wild, and I love that. It's a great shot.
My number 4 is Grogu using the Force to hurl whatever that creature is out of the cave, and he floats out on the little pram or whatever carriage.
That's a great moment. My number 3 is just Coruscant, just everything about it. It's mostly seeing the Doctor and the ship flying around, because I missed that, and I'm glad to see it back, and I'm really, really excited to see that storyline, because that was completely absent from the second season, right? Like, aside from, well, no, I guess not. Aside from the Snoke, but it was mostly, second season didn't really dive into it as much as I think we thought it might, and it's glad to see that come back.
My number 3 is that flash of the Jedis with lightsabers, because you're like, yeah, what's it gonna be? We have no idea. All in.
You can't like. Look, Brock, you know I love Andor, probably my favorite of all the shows we've gotten, but it is so nice to see lightsabers and stuff and battle droids like Star Wars back. You know what I mean? Like, I love Andor. We'll probably like it more than this season of Mandalorian, maybe, but it's so nice to see that stuff. I just love that stuff. It looks so great. It's Star Wars, baby. My number 2, heavy Mando, guns a blazing. And he's my favorite of the Mandalorians that we have. I have his Funko Pop. I don't have his Black Series because I'm not a rich man, but I really like that heavy. So what's his name? Pax Vizga or something. So anyway, I'm all in on Heavy using Vizga. Maybe Heavy dies this season. I could see that happening. I could see Heavy having like an emotional death, and Mando be like, "It's all right, brother. I got this." That's my Pedro Pascal impression. That's why.
My number 2 is that glory shot of all these different colored Mandalorians standing on the rock, and it's just like guaranteeing that like we are possibly seeing the rebuilding of Mandalore as we see later, and it's like I have to go to Mandalore. Like, it wasn't a huge shock though. Like, seeing all of them, I was like, "Ooh, yeah!" And I was like, so it's that's my number 2.
And my number 1, you mentioned already, it's Grogu using the Force on that beast thing. I love Grogu. I love seeing him use the Force. It reminded me of the Mudhorn sequence, but now he's like got a lot more. He looks angry, bro. He still looks angry. So I'm really curious to see. Could you imagine if Snoke is just a grown-up Grogu? Somehow he got super tall and they cut off his ears.
It's like that Photoshop where it's like tall Yoda. I love that. Where they're walking down the hall and they just extended his legs down.
Yeah.
My number 1 is it's gonna be a weird one, but it's the return of Paul Sung-Hyung Lee, because in that entire episode, or sorry, trailer, the most audible I got was when he popped on the screen. I was straight up Leonardo DiCaprio from Tales from, like, ooh. Oh wait, does he hold a cup in that thing, or is he holding a cigarette? He's holding a cigarette.
I think it's a cigarette.
Oh shoot! I was like, did you like that? I was like, I listen.
Yeah, I first thought you were holding a chia pet.
Ooh, it's just like, it's great to see him back. So it's like, and Peli Moto, okay, it's like they're ancillary characters, but they're there and they're in every season. It's like perfect.
And that's why, that's, for me, these are the things that make Star Wars. It's like The Simpsons, right? They're these characters that exist. You can like them, you don't have to, but they exist in there, and that's what makes up the world. And, you can complain that the world's shrinking, but I disagree with that argument. I think the world, what's the point of if you keep expanding, what's going to bring me back? Like, and that Brock, I always say it, what will separate Star Wars from Valerian?
It's a valid
just saying,
point. Valid point.
At some point, you're like, what separates it? This has been a 270. Wow. Thanks to Dale Erdman for Paz Vizsla. Paz Vizsla.
Yeah.
No sneeze. Trying not to sneeze. Brock, anything to say?
No. Watch Yellow Jackets. I enjoy it thoroughly. I did the sound effect. Man, I can't
There's
wait
a
to be
lot of.
done.
I'm allergic to everything.
I feel like friggin' virtual backgrounds just need to go away. What did Dale say here?
Got it up there. Are you kidding? Captain Carson Teva wearing a Rancor patch on his jacket. That makes it much more better than
Wow.
Paula's back. Yeah, actually, we haven't talked about that Rancor patch. I think we're going to in the coming weeks because I don't know what the hell to make of that, but it's awesome.
Wow. I did not
Maybe
see
it's
that
just
at
like
all.
I feel like that might be his like football team because in Attack of the Clones they have like sports and like that sports bar.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I'm kind of I don't want to over speculate on what that could be just yet, but it was pretty cool that there was a Rancor patch, and I'm
Yeah.
sure people hated it.
Of course.
But thanks for reminding me of that, Dale. I was gonna
Yeah.
I meant to bring up when you were talking, and then we forgot. Yeah, great patch. Like attention to detail is what this show does best.
Yep.
I'm trying to find the shot of him to bring it up. No, let's just do this. Whatever. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Oh, come on. There we go. Add it to screen. Where is he? What point of the trailer does he show up? Is he before this? He's after this.
Yeah, a little. It's too bad because you had it like before. He was
I
on
know. There we go.
like, there he is.
There's your Rancor.
Oh yeah, I looked at that. I honestly did not look at that and see Rancor. That's amazing. Wow, that's someone's gonna make that as a shirt.
And look, there's the Rebellion logo on the side there. So there's
Yeah.
something to this. That could just be like his squadron is the Rancor squad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whatever. But you see, the thing is, this is, you could argue that bringing him into this is shrinking the world, but then you add this patch and all of a sudden you're expanding the world because who knows what that means, right? So expanding the galaxy doesn't necessarily mean new characters or planets. It means new patches of Rancors on jackets. All right, 272 episodes in the bag. Brock, anything else you want to say to our lovely viewers today or listeners? Listeners, keep listening.
Thank you for stopping by and listening and watching what we do. So I love you.
All right, guys. Thank you so much, Taylor. And that's how we will. Thank you guys for watching. It really does mean a lot to us. Give us a like and subscribe and all that fun stuff. And until next time, Brock, you were always scum.
Rebel scum.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.